the one that a few people have addressed now, I addressed this on Instagram, but I haven't yet addressed this on YouTube, so I feel like the podcast is the best place to do this. Recently, Kerser and JD or JUF was on a podcast, the Beers, Beats and the Biz, that's it. Dope fucking podcast, by the way. I've been listening to another episode on there, and yeah, they just seem to ask the right questions. The conversation flows well. It's a very, very good podcast. So I'm gonna shout out that podcast first and foremost, and I'm gonna say to go check out the link in the description to their Spotify page, to go and check out and listen to more of their stuff, because I feel like it's definitely a great platform from what I've heard so far anyway. And so either way, I obviously, because of time difference, I woke up to a few DMs, not a shitload, I'd say about 3 or 4 DMs of people saying that Kerser has dissed me. And this is quite reminiscent, because obviously there was that track that he did a while ago. Was it The Vibe? It wasn't The Vibe. I can't remember the track, but either way, he did a track, and I was like, I wonder if he's talking about me. We addressed it with each other, and we cleared that it wasn't about me. It was just kind of saying, look, if people want to talk their shit, just know I'm going to tell them about themselves as well. It was kind of more of a generic thing. And I guess you could say if the shoe fits in some way. Not that I was chatting shit, but obviously, yeah. Then recently, obviously, they've gone on this podcast now and they've made a comment. I'm just going to play the audio clip of what Kerser and JD were talking about, and this is kind of more so JD, to be fair, that people were kind of referencing, but they love using the name Kerser. Throwing the name Kerser in there makes it obviously 10 times more spicy. No disrespect towards JD, just when you look at the numbers. So yeah, I'm just gonna play this clip right here.
Yeah. You know, you can press play on it whenever the fuck you want.
Listen to Joe Rogan at night.
Yeah. You know? They're calling it new media technology.
Yeah, it's taken over, man.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, I'd agree.
No. And that other shit where people just sit there fucking talking bad shit about other people rapping, reviewing it.
Yeah.
That's a new thing.
That's a new thing too.
Yeah, you can sit in front of the camera and react. You can go off someone who's just sitting in their room's reaction, and sometimes their reaction can shift how a person thinks.
Like
man.
That's the whole thing.
Like if you're that.
Definitely. What somebody says, people like me, what we say can influence people. Yeah, 100% I agree.
Fucking stupid to watch a reactor and go.
If you're that fucking weak-minded, like seriously, man.
Shaz.
Like seriously.
What's his name? Sharon?
Something like that.
Is that cunt you parodied in a video one day? Remember you parodied
Shazza.
him?
Shout out to Shazza.
This cunt over here, River's a fucking performance artist, man.
weapon,
Like, this cunt is something else.
He should have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, for real, dude.
Trolling.
He has to.
Fucking
No, but shout out to Sharon. She's a nice reviewer, isn't she?
Yeah, she's nice, man.
Yeah.
But JD, brother.
Okay, so that's all it was. Now people have obviously messaged me and they're like, JD's dissed you, Kerser's dissed you. Fucking no, they haven't. And like I said, I've addressed this on Instagram, but let's address it in a little bit more detail here now. Let's go through that one more time. So they were talking about podcasts and how accessible it is as opposed to radio and TV. Yeah, of course, you play podcasts whenever you want. I do it. It's the same when you walk to work, when I'm sitting down, when I'm on a journey, whatever it is. I listen to podcasts. Yeah, it happens. And it's very accessible. And then obviously they've segued that into talking about reaction videos. Now, they said that reaction videos can sway a person's opinion. Yes, 110% by someone like me. I'll use me as an example, but like someone like me saying, you know what, this track is so sick, it's unbelievable, and the reason why is because of the flow and the way they structured their verse, and notice the small detail here, and so and so and so and so. Someone might sit there and go from, yeah, that song's alright, to, you know what, I actually appreciate that in a different way. That's one way. Equally, let's take that in a flip perspective. You could also be like, yeah, I don't really like this song. I think it lacks the delivery. I think it's a little bit monotone. For me personally, it's a bit boring for that reason. Someone who may be like, you know what, that song's alright, may listen to someone like me say something like that and be like, I kind of see where he's coming from now. I've gone a little bit off of it. That can happen. Yes, especially with the way I do my reaction videos, when I give you my reasons why I dislike a song. Like, I give my reasons why. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later on in the podcast, but there's plenty of people that react to a video and don't give much of an opinion. And so, of course, they're not going to really sway people's minds. Someone like me who likes to give my 2 cents and give my opinion can sway others. By me sharing my thoughts, by me giving my opinion, can change other people's opinions and thoughts on something. Yes. Now, when they make the comment, I think JD makes the comment of, if you're that weak-minded to allow that to happen, that's when I kind of have mixed feelings about. That's the only thing that I'm going to kind of debate a little bit with being weak-minded. So if you're weak-minded, you are easily influenced, correct? If you're weak-minded, you are not strong enough to form and hold your own opinion. That's what I infer from the term weak-minded. If you are weak-minded, somebody in person, a friend of yours, or say a family member that enjoys the same music you do, that debates the same things, could easily influence you. Any artist on their social media could then easily influence you. And likewise, people like YouTube could influence you. But I don't believe that someone changing their opinion makes them weak-minded. I don't believe so. I believe that if someone doesn't have a clue what they're talking about, like absolutely not a single idea of what they're talking about, manages to sway your opinion that is factual, then I believe you're weak-minded. Then I believe you know, blue is blue. No, red is blue. Oh, yeah, man. Red is blue. That's weak-minded, okay? If I give you an opinion with reason behind it, sometimes maybe even facts behind it, I don't believe by swaying someone's opinion with that makes someone weak-minded. People change my opinion. I can listen to say what JD or Kerser say on their social media or on this podcast, for example, and it can sway my opinion. I don't believe that makes somebody weak-minded. For me personally, anyway. And so I do see where he's coming from. Easily. Yeah, easily. We do change people's opinion. I don't believe it makes someone weak-minded, though. The furthest you could say to being a diss is the whole fact that they call me Sharon. I think that's the furthest that can go. I don't believe that even that. They're just pissing about, man. Like, let's be real, it's not that deep. When they was talking about parodies that they were shouting at River City, also known as Kresnik, obviously doing an Instagram parody thing a while back. And yeah, like, to be fair, me and Kres had a little back and forth before. That was me being easily offended. That was me kind of defending myself for the simple fact of I was new to the whole Oz scene thing. I didn't know everyone. I didn't know how people responded to things. If you did that in the UK scene, yeah, you're holding smoke. It just happens, but I've realized the interaction with the Oz scene is slightly different, so I've treated it slightly different. So I took it personally. Looking at it now, yeah, it wasn't that deep. Okay, cool. We've moved on. We've talked about it. We've even done a podcast together as well. Cool. Things move on. And so, yeah, they were just talking about him parodying me and whatnot. So, yeah, I don't really take offense to what they've said. I don't feel like it's a diss. I don't feel like they're cussing me. I don't feel like it's any sort of disrespect. The furthest level of disrespect there was calling me a she and Shazza. It's not that deep, boys. Like, in this industry, in this level of work, and in this field of work, if you are offended by things like that, it's going to be difficult. You are going to make your job 10 times more difficult. And this goes into a thing of what I've tried to been doing recently, which is I can hear everybody, but I don't listen. I'm starting to get to that level now, or been doing this long enough, should you say, where people message me and do the whole, you know, you help me get through shit. I'm your number one biggest fan. I religiously watch your shit and I can't wait for the next thing to come out, and I'm angry if you don't post on a daily basis. You know, I'm not the only one going through that. There's plenty of influencers, artists, just people in general that are like that. And they are all positive things. When people say, I'm your biggest fan, you help me through shit, it's all positive things, you know, for them showing their love and support. And I always appreciate that. I can hear what you're saying, but I don't want to listen to too much of it. And the reason for that is I feel like that's why so many influencers, celebrities, whoever it is, gets big-headed. It inflates their ego. Of course, if you listen to hundreds or maybe even thousands of people per day saying you are the shit, you are the second best thing since sliced bread, of course you're going to be big-headed. Of course you're going to have an inflated ego. It's hard not to. If someone at your workplace says, "Ah, man, I like your outfit today," that can give you a small little boost of confidence. Or, "Ah, I like how your makeup looks today." Or, "Ah, man, I heard your track. That sounds sick." Like, it's something that can boost your confidence. But there's a fine line between being confident and then just being an arsehole with an inflated ego. Like, there is such a fine line between the two. And so, yes, would I say I've become more confident? 100%. Now I want to stay between that fine line of being confident within myself and in some ways being able to talk my shit whilst being humble about it, without stepping that line of just being cocky and arrogant. I don't want to be that person, and at times I may seem like that. And if so, I do, and I don't apologize. I do apologize because I don't want to be that person. I don't apologize because I am just trying to be myself. And so, you know, there's plenty of positive things you hear that I don't want to hear too much of. Equally, though, there's the fair share of negative shit. You know, you don't know what you're talking about, or how is our Pommy fucking representing the Oz scene more than our own people, which is another thing I want to talk about in a moment, and that could be taken as a compliment as well. But you know, fuck you, what the fuck do you know, who the fuck do you know, you don't know what you're talking about, etc, etc, all the generic shit that you hear in YouTube comments or DMs from time to time. Now, again, I'll hear it, I read it, but I don't listen to it. I don't listen to it. Why don't I listen to it? Because if I start listening to that shit, I would have stopped this months ago. I would have stopped this after my first couple reaction videos, full stop. I would have stopped this after my first couple tracks got released, full stop. Like, it's such a difficult thing to do, but I feel like I'm slowly getting there in terms of no matter how positive or how negative someone's opinion is of me, I want to hear it. If someone wants to talk shit, I want to hear why. 9 times out of 10, there's never a reason why. With the positives, I'll hear it. I like hearing it. Let's be real. I like hearing someone talk highly of me. I'm not going to sit here and say that's not the case. However, I don't want to listen to too much of it because I don't want to become someone that I'm not. I don't want to become big-headed, etc, etc. So I hope you get where I'm coming from there. So going back to the whole Kerser and JD thing, to me, it wasn't a diss. It's not something that offends me deeply. It's not something that is considered disrespectful. Obviously, I mentioned him in the story. Kerser just basically liked the message, so I think Kerser just agrees with what I'm saying. So obviously, given more detail, maybe now he doesn't. I don't know, but honestly, respect to Kerser, because he's one of the few artists that when I have said something that's controversial, we'll put it like that, when I've said I don't like this song for so and so reasons, he's one of the few artists that actually DMs me. That's why I have a level of respect for Kerser. There has been some artists that have just added me on their Instagram story, and then when I DM them, they air it or go, no, it's not like that, I was just messing about. There's the reason why I have respect for Kerser. JD, I've never spoken to personally or anything like that, so I can't speak on behalf of him, but I'm sure it's going to be pretty similar. And as for Krez is just Krez. Krez is going to just fuck about 24/7. Me and him speak here and there and whatnot, and even he said like, oh yeah, you got a little shout out on the podcast. He put it like that, and then other people put it as a diss. But yeah, I'd kind of put it as a shout out, but I definitely wouldn't put it as a diss. Like 110% wouldn't put it as a diss. So yeah, putting that to bed, putting that to one side, thought I just needed to address that for some of the people on YouTube. And I'll probably end up clipping this and uploading it to YouTube. So yeah.